You are listening to an After Dinner Conversation magazine podcast. After Dinner Conversation believes humanity is improved by ethics and morals grounded in philosophical truth, and that truth is discovered through intentional reflection and respectful debate. In order to facilitate this process, we have created a growing series of print books, a monthly short story magazine, and 2 different podcasts. This podcast, Philosophy Ethics Short Story Audiobooks, provides readings of stories that have appeared in our magazine, and we discuss them in our companion podcast, Philosophy Ethics Short Story Discussions. We hope you'll continue the discussion with friends, family, and students, or head over to the comments section on our website or Facebook page. And please subscribe to our podcast, share it on social media, and suggest it to friends. Thank you for supporting us through your magazine subscriptions and through patreon.com. Links are in the description. I'm Tina Forsey, an acquisition editor at After Dinner Conversation. This story is written by W.M. Pienton and was published in our July 2021 magazine. The Book of Approved Words. I relaxed on the couch watching an illegal show on videotape. They had such freedom of language back then, I thought. "I told you to sit, retard," the man on the screen shouted. Reluctantly plopping down, the other man mumbled, "Faggot." We can't get away with those words anymore, I thought, turning the volume down. When the episode finished, I shut off the VCR and TV. "Back to work," I mumbled. I am an approved writer and have to regularly update my published works. Deleting words recently made illegal. Sitting, I read from my laptop. The pink, blue, and white sky reminded me of Easter. Earlier this year, the word Easter was made illegal. It excludes non-Christians and is now considered offensive. 2 hours later, I leaned back in my chair, rubbing my eyes, thinking, can't take any more today. I really should be using the latest edition of the Book of Approved Words. I'd get evaluated if I missed something. A colleague was recently imprisoned for using an illegal word. There were even rumors he was executed. I do not know if he was rebelling or simply using an out-of-date book. Not wanting to end up like him, I left the house and took a bus to the Bureau of Acceptable Language. Approaching the desk, I asked for the latest edition of the book. "You'll need to turn in your old copy," said the bespectacled woman. "Why? I never had to do it before." "It's a new law. Once turned in, the old copies will be destroyed, so all traces of the offensive words will be swept away." I noticed the price has gone up. Leader needs to fund his re-education programs. Upon returning with your old copy, you'll be fingerprinted. That's new, too. It's to keep track of writers and help find word criminals. Oh, and don't forget to renew your writing license. Nodding, I left the building. Returning home, I flopped onto the couch and paged through my outdated book. I don't want it destroyed. I gazed at my bookshelves, thinking, well, I still have my copies from previous years. Snapping the book shut, I returned to the bureau. I placed the book on her desk, and she handed me a clipboard of forms. Filling them out, I returned it. "All right, sir, come this way for fingerprinting." Taking my new book, I thanked her and left. It gets thinner every year. If it continues like this, we will be left with no words. I entered the house, finding my brother on the couch. "Hey, Pete," he said, standing. I quickly shut the door and drew the shades. Silas was an approved writer. Last year, he knowingly published an article using illegal words, then went into hiding. Word crimes even summoned me for questioning. I worry for him daily. "You all right? What are you doing here?" "I'm fine, but the freedom of speech movement needs your help," he said. Originally labeled a hate group by the government, they were recently recategorized as terrorists. The freedom of speech movement wants no word off limits, no subject taboo. They formed a little after the Bureau of Acceptable Language. I don't know, maybe. You have a rebellious streak. Just not as pronounced as mine. You know, Thomas Jefferson said, "I hold it that a little rebellion now and then is a good thing, and as necessary in the political world as storms in the physical." It's sad most people don't know who he was anymore. Tossing my jacket onto the couch, I sat. "I'll think about it. Tell me what you need." I need to scan the old books Dad and Grandpa left you. What happened? The Bureau found and destroyed almost everything. We need to build a new database. What if the Bureau discovers where the scans came from? Nobody but me will know, not even other members. Silas always kept his word. I sighed. Why not? Coffee? Sure, he replied, sitting. He looked about the room and said, Videotapes, huh? The black market doesn't exactly have a plethora of mediums to choose from. Ooh, you said plethora. That's illegal, you know, he teased. Shut up. I smirked. I have deadlines to meet. If I miss one, they'll check on me, so you'll have to scan them yourself. That's fine. The equipment's in my bag. It's going to take at least a week, I said, sitting and handing him a mug. After our coffee, I have to write. To success, he said, clinking his cup to mine. We worked all night. After finishing the article, I helped scan. Morning found us relaxing on the couch. We each had a tumbler of whiskey. Remember Melody? Slurred Silas. Yeah, I had a crush on her. She wrote poetry, so I wrote some, hoping to impress her. That's why you started writing. What about her? How's she doing? I asked, taking a sip. She's gone, Pete. Evaluated. We sat in gloomy silence. Damn. Glancing at the clock, I said, I need some sleep. I have to appear before the Bureau of Acceptable Language Board today. What for? Someone complained about a movie review I wrote again. Oh boy. You got the couch. I'm going to bed. You believe the wording is appropriate? Asked board member 1, not looking up from my article. Yes, I replied, trying to sound confident. And what's the message you're attempting to convey? Asked board member 5. I thought I was pretty clear, ma'am, I said. Is it to make the reader happy? I'd like to hear your intention. What are you trying to communicate? Asked board member 1. I didn't care for the film. It's my honest opinion, I said. This is the third negative article you've written in a row, said board member 5. You're too pessimistic, said board member 4. They just have to stop making bad movies, I said. We're taking you off movies and reassigning you to musical album reviews. Be positive, said 4. But honest, added 3. You may go, said the chairman, gesturing. How'd it go? Asked Silas, looking up from his work. Taking off my jacket, I said, I've been reassigned to writing music reviews. So, basically a warning. Yeah. Too pessimistic, they said. One of them told me to be positive, while another said to be honest. What do? Write sugar-coated reviews? Yup. I'm going into the next room and listening to this album. You keep scanning. Since you have to be positive, just write the review without listening to it, said Silas as I closed the door. It's going to be awful, he added, muffled on the other side. They all are these days. Turning on my stereo, I poured a whiskey, preparing for the worst. The music started, and I winced. I turned it off 30 seconds later and wrote a sterling review. I opened the door and Silas grinned, saying, Done already? Couldn't even finish the first song. I gave the album 5 stars. The Bureau loves it when I use stars. No words necessary. Good. Take over for a bit. I need a break, he said, rubbing his eyes. Standing, he gave me the handheld scanner. You know, the freedom of speech movement is planning something big. I wasn't going to tell you, but we couldn't find anyone else. What do you need me for? Access to the Bureau of Acceptable Language. Only approved writers like you can email submissions to media outlets. They blindly publish anything they're sent, too afraid of the Bureau to say no. We want to submit an old dictionary. The board will find out. Yeah, after it's published. Probably won't work, I said. And even if it does, change won't happen overnight. I'll have to go into hiding like you. Police will tear the house apart. They'd take or destroy everything. Before we publish the dictionary, my friends will move your things to a safe house. You know, the word dictionary was made illegal last year. The board says that it's too intimidating and makes people feel stupid, I said, stalling. Where do we look up words now? The book of approved words has taken over the job, I said. If I did this, I'd be leaving behind everything I worked for. Everything you write is monitored. You've never published a sentence you wanted to write, and you live under constant threat of evaluation. I gazed around the room, remembering our dad and grandfather. Sighing, I put my head down. I suppose it's time to move on. Excellent, said Silas. The house was empty. It was early morning. We sat on the floor in front of the laptop. All that was left was to send the dictionary. They'll publish it, assured Silas. If they don't want to get evaluated. They know the penalty for questioning an approved writer's submission. I just hope the board doesn't catch it for a while, I said, sending it and turning off the laptop. We left the house. At the end of the street, I turned, looking one final time upon my old life. Ready? Silas asked. Let's go. It's getting light out. Right now, the sky kind of reminds me of Easter, with the pinks, blues, and whites. Discussion questions. 1. Why does the government want to remove words from the dictionary? What reasons do they give? 2. Does removing offensive or hate speech words from publication help limit the use or spread of those words or thoughts among the public? 3. What does the society think will happen if people are aware of the words they are missing? Is their action likely to get them closer to their goal? 4. Should there be forbidden knowledge or thoughts? Would you support a law that kept books that taught homemade bomb making from being printed and sold to the public? 5. Do you think there are more or fewer words being used now than there were 200 years ago? Why is that so? What do you think? Let's continue the discussion on our companion podcast, After Dinner Conversation Discussions, and in the comments section on our website or on Facebook. Links are in the description. Thank you for joining us, and we hope to hear from you soon.